Yeah, come on. This one. No, you would be the first. Yeah. Start must sneak around. The questions are is all right to tell part.
Thank you very much, President. I think I'm rising for a number of times now. My name is Andy Lemine. I'm a delegate in this conference. I just want to say to the SG of the ANC, thank you very much for the inspiring speech that you have given us, SG. And I think you are not only a SG, and I think you are not only a visitor in the legal fraternity, but you have shown and demonstrated a deeper understanding of the challenges that are facing the legal profession. But also were inspired by the fact that you have came to reassure the delegates that Luthuli House remains a strategic partner to the National Democratic Lawyers. So I want to applaud you for that. We will knock in your door, not for the 10% as you have said, but of course we are going to knock for the many challenges that we'd want you to demonstrate the capability of being a partner with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. It's Mokwena from the Pretoria branch. I do have a comment to the Secretary General of the African National Congress. It's a short comment. The Secretary may be comfortable if he wants to respond. It's with regards to the sphere that we find ourselves to be in our country, which is a sphere of coalition governments. We've seen it from inception in the local government, and it has matured into the national government. And in the local government, we've seen the tendency and the propensity of it resulting in some form of instability because of change of leadership constantly. It is a potential threat to the stability of our economy, and it can happen in the national government. How do you think, or what do you think could be the measures, particularly from a legal point of view, that could be put in place to prevent and put precautions against collapse of agreements which are reached by coalition partners? Thank you very much.
Yeah, I know it's a...
it's the last.
Yes, thank you very much, President. And we welcome the SG of the African National Congress, Umzukulwana kaMhlonhlo, to this house of the National Association of Democratic Lawyers. I was not going to speak, President, but when the SG spoke about the need for a fighting spirit, I felt the need that we need to support, and I need to say that it is the time at this difficult juncture in our country that we need to be analytical and understand that the road ahead, a lot lies ahead in terms of what needs to be done. As young professionals, educated people, we indeed have a lot to do, in particular the legal profession, to be supportive in the cause where we are in now, both from the perspective of the rise in the far right from a global perspective, but also which is gaining confidence even here domestically. So when you say Jola masingabe ngomagwala, we are ready to join the fight in an intellectual way to say that we are going to support the Congress movement to emerge and lead our people in the right direction. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President. I'm speaking for the last time. But I want to welcome also the presentation by the Secretary General of the African National Congress. There are many things that he has raised that are thought-provoking. But the one that I would want to address myself to is this one of us forming of our own AfriForum. Now, in doing that, SG, we will see you coming to us as Nadel when you have a case there at Lutil House. You contact the president of Nadel that can you bring a number of 4 or 5 law firms to come and defend the ANC here. And by so doing, you also instruct your deployees there at Parliament to brief us. This issue of briefing patterns has been an issue that we have been lamenting about, and also there are promises that the minister had made today about this issue. So I want to say that in order for us to go to the communities as Nadel and our theme, but if we can also address this issue of briefing patterns and inclusivity of black small firms, then that would be a good issue. Thank you very much. Kabela will sing for you when you leave. Thank you.
Mr. James, you are the last. Okay. Kubanga.
Inaika.
And Bonkak. At least, but you are the last person.
Thank you.
Because I've never had to speak in this conference, so I deny you this opportunity.
So welcome to our Nobala. I am from Port Shepstone, a town on the south coast, KwaZulu-Natal, and I think our Nobala will understand the dynamics of KwaZulu and the politics there currently. We have a situation that is masked by, obviously, a political crisis. And, we understand the political landscape of KwaZulu. Nobala, there is a program of renewal within the ANC. And I ask this question as one, an attorney, and another as a member of the alliance of both the Communist Party, coming from the YCL and the SACP, and also a member of the ANC. What we currently are experiencing at a micro level is extreme gatekeeping. One, from the position of being a minority group, the other from the level of being a professional, because there's an intellectual crisis within the alliance and within our branches. So the easiest way to keep out the intellectual class is at your level of your branch. Now, my question to you, and we would like some feedback. In fact, it's great that you are here today, because we have no way of accessing the ANC. Being from Port Shepstone, I was advised that we don't even have branches anymore, only to see that the province came down to say that we are doing verification of branches. But the gatekeeping is it's to such an extent that we can't even have access to our BEC meetings. And this is indicative of the level of democracy you have in the country. The state of the ANC as being the center is actually it's an indication as to the level of democracy we have within the country. The ANC is in crisis, is the country in crisis. And this would speak directly as well to Nadel in terms of us being a constitutional democracy and how we redefine our role at this time. What I want and what I propose is that we do have Nadel branches, and we would love to give guidance to our BECs at a local level. Because what we find also is that through the procurement process, you have attorneys that are advising municipalities, and then you look at where politics and policy meet. And what you have is a development of policy that does not sit well with the policy of the ANC. So it's something that we need to look at, and maybe you can intervene at a very local level so that we will be able to be a part of the ANC again. Thank you.
I will give the SG to respond and comment on what you have said.
Thank you very much. I think most of the inputs are comments, starting with Andile to the last comment. I think these are comments that will take forward from this meeting. But one of the things that I think are important is that ANC must interact and work closely with Nadel. When I became Secretary General, it was very difficult to see this interaction at the provincial level, at all levels. That was not taking place. And to be invited to Nadel conference as the ANC is almost like taboo. Like when you explain the history of where we come from, and also with Nadel, to some it will be something that most of the people will not actually understand, that relationship that has evolved between Nadel and the African National Congress. So that is why my point of emphasis that in the speech it is important to work together, but over and above that, it is important that we interact, but at the same time we interact around the program of action. And that's what is important. And what is that program of action? That program of action says to us that we have not reached the desirable state. It is important for transformation to happen. We need people who understand how they are affected by a society that is untransformed. And it will begin with lawyers. It will begin with what we have articulated in what we're addressing about BBBE and codes. All of those must be defended, because the other side is saying, Elon Musk says you are implementing racial laws. I was in America and I was talking to Americans about South Africa. They talk about expropriation act now. They confuse that to something else. And they take the word of AfriForum and solidarity. And that's what happens. Now, where is this black voice? Where is this voice of Africans and black people in general that speak for us? Siyaxhaphazwa nje apha phandle. Renewal, you say something, uyothuswa. And then that's it. And then you can see almost people acting as a group to defend their interest. And I think in this particular instance, it is important that an organization like Nadel must think about how do you position yourself in the national discourse, but at the same time to protect and to advance transformation. And how do we do that? And it is important that we position ourselves in that regard. Now, secondly, local government, I think there's a lot of things that you can do legally and advise even the ANC in terms of intervention. We've got DDM at the present moment, but the problem of local government, is it a problem of capacity on the part of our municipalities, or what is the challenge? Or it's a challenge that there is micromanagement to a point where in which we have lowered the standards ourselves. If you look at Western Cape, all municipalities, poor and rich, when you come to accounting, they produce results. Our municipalities do not. And that is a reality. And to me, when a municipality celebrates a qualified report, that is a problem. Because qualified and unqualified means to me one thing, that you're not managing the financial affairs of the municipality proper. And what do we do to give capacity and support? And Nadel can work with us in that regard to support these municipalities. Because the ANC, in terms of running municipalities, we have a bad record. And then somebody who taught me marketing said to me, if somebody says something negative, you must work very hard to change that negativity. But if they say something good about you, even if it's exaggerated, ignore. It looks like Mbalula is a friend of Nokesi, Mvuzo Nokesi. Even if we are not friends, leave it like that. It's positive. But if somebody says that you are a thief, and you are not, you must work very hard to change that. Here in the movement and the ANC, this movement led by the ANC, it is said that our municipalities are underperforming, are bad for over decades. Even under President Mbeki. I say President Mbeki because he was very efficient in terms of his government. Something that followed after was something else. So you cannot even talk efficiency when it comes. Ramaphosa faced difficulties in terms of his presidency. There was COVID, there was corruption he had to deal with. Not easy. Badly performing economy and all of that. Now here's the question. What do we do with this state? Like that person who taught us marketing, we seem to be quite comfortable to live with the stigma that municipalities can stay the way they are. And then we're beaten by our opponents that where we govern well, municipalities produce results. Come the Auditor General this year, she will come with the results which reflect badly on the municipalities that we lead. And if you look at what is the problem, misgovernance, we're deploying people who are not supposed to be deployed to run municipalities. It reminds me of Aaron Mutsualedi, who said that you deploy a person with masters in theology to run a hospital, and you expect to get the results. And then I had somebody somewhere when I arrived in the Department of Transport, doctor in pedagogics, running trains. Very good, but trains, they need somebody with a special skill. That's why we put somebody there as a CEO, engineering capacity. At least you can understand the language. Now, mismatch of deployment and all of that. Now, you've got that in local government. Very good people, honest, some of them. We deploy them, but do they have requisite skills to produce the results? Why are we beaten on this game? We are beaten on that game by our opponents because there is something right that they are doing and we are not doing. And we have almost accepted that it's normal that an ANC council can be what it is, and it can be changed. And I was telling comrades that in terms of the barometer, that must change, starting from the personnel and in terms of deployment, but at the same time, political people who are actually deployed to oversee these municipalities. So we need to look into that. And the center must hold. It means there must be accountability, in my view. At the present moment, it is not there. We're going to local government elections next year. We can't go with that image. It must be said that most of ANC municipalities have changed for the better. And what is it that we have done? We have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the ANC in ensuring that our municipalities are different. Now, when it comes to renewal is happening. And I don't know why you are not seeing it. And for renewal to be felt, it means among yourself, including where you are, you need to say, I can see it. The ANC is different, comrades, at the present moment. You can't do as you like in the ANC. That's the first thing. Secondly, we have tightened our approach to matters of rule of law as it affects members of the ANC. And people don't want to talk about it. And the dominant view in the public discourse is that ANC doesn't act. We act decisively. Even in the National Executive Committee that I'm serving, there's 1 or 2 people who are on the step aside because they appeared in court and all of that. Before, there was nothing like that. People will be singing like they were singing today there. That thing is to say into engule. I mean, we no longer have people. We have to address that. Don't go to court with T-shirts or go with T-shirts. It's no longer there. You get arrested, you are on your own. I'm telling you, if we find ANC people toying in court supporting an individual arrested for whatever, we are on top of them. We deal with them. So there's no longer this wishy-washy approach. And many people are afraid. All what we need to do is to strengthen law enforcement. Because the reality of the matter is that in South Africa, since the Scorpions died, there's no longer fear. Even if the Hawks can get into an office of the municipality, they live with files, we know those people will be back tomorrow. And in fact, if they go to court, they will win. Conviction rate, is it high? I don't know. I don't want to make assumptions. Maybe it is high. But when I left the police, I know what I said and what we needed to do and what I said to the ANC. What we needed to do. And we are beginning to implement that, but not in a faster pace. And we need to do that. Because the setup that you've got there was meant to erode the capacity for a particular reason. And we need to go backward. People don't have fear any longer. They do corruption willy-nilly. When have you ever heard that a municipal money left coffers of the state to somebody's account without work being done, without procedures, nothing, supply chain forgone, money gone, akovalo, because they know that somebody is going to come and arrest you, and then there's a possibility that those individuals can open themselves up for bribes and all of that. So the state must do its task And one of the critical elements of the democratic state is to respect the rule of law. And once you see the signs of a failed state is when the rule of law does not bite. And that's where the problem begins. And that's what we're correcting now in terms of the interventions we're making. So I'm saying to you that a renewal is happening in the ANC. We are changing the way things used to happen in terms of gatekeeping. We have a membership card now, of which is your own independence. We can deliver it in your doorstep. If you join the ANC, you can't use it to get into an aeroplane, even though it has got your ID number. But that's it, because it's a guarantee that you can get into a PGM anytime you want, and all of that without being pushed away by a secretary or whatever that it is. But over and above that, the ANC, you know, when you talk about renewal, people must see it. Not only in the ANC structures, but also how the structures impact on society. If ANC people are fighting in a hall, in a meeting, who will join that thing? There's nobody. And today, what we believe will inspire people going forward is the fact that that is changing. I'm from Northern Cape. Yesterday, the ANC did a splendid job. The conference was good. I'm from Skukuni. The conference was good. There is there and there elements and all of that. We're dealing with that. We're living in a very interesting situation. I thought you'll ask me about VAT. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a politician, but I take my chance to be a voodoo lawyer from now and then, and so on. But the fact of the matter is that, and I'm concluding now, you see, we've been in discussions, and I mentioned DA and the lies and all of that. But you see, the fact of the matter is that now we're governing but not alone. And I'm concluding on that point. We're governing but not alone. We work with others. But you must understand why the ANC chose GNU. We could have chosen a grand coalition, minority government. We did not. And we went for GNU. And why we went for GNU is because GNU is about South Africa. You invite everybody to come on board. And others then came with red lines. And they really locked themselves out of the GNU. And then we're left with DA and other parties, which are about 10 parties. And DA said, no, we don't want to work with you and EFF and everybody else. We said, we will not agree to that. We will work with everyone. The fact of the matter is that people wanted positions. And once they realized that they will not get those positions in a GNU arrangement, then they decided to bring a nice phrase. We will not work with so and so and all of that. Whereas that is not true. Because they've worked before together in local government and everywhere else. And there was no ideology. I remember approaching a leader of a political party and I said, you mean that's the first time the ANC lost elections in the metros? He said that nonsense, go and tell it I don't know to who. Just like that. We are going to work with the DA, not with you. And they made us to write these essays. You never pass this essay and questions. And then we write with the belief that, you know, we'll find each other. And then we submit, failed, and they switch off their phones. Let me tell you, we are not in that position with our 40%. We don't beg. If the DA, for instance, were to leave, they can go. We'll get another partner. And then even if that partner doesn't want to come, they may decide. We will change from GNU to grant, from grant to minority. But all of those will have the ANC. So the ANC will not be out. We cannot be one thing that is opposition, otherwise it will be the largest opposition. We cannot. Anything that is going to happen in this country cannot happen without the ANC. Guys, we considered on this VAT thing. It's not because we started it. It came from Treasury. Because everything is decided in Treasury. And I think they forgot that this is GNU. Well, fine and good. They say the spending is high, no revenue, borrowing exhausted, and therefore, what do we do? Where do we get alternative means of revenue? 2% shock was introduced, kicked out, budget postponed. 0.5%. Everybody agrees. And then others, they put conditions on the side. And then we said, but these issues have got nothing to do with the budget. And then let's move ahead. And then we go to the budget framework. And then all other parties agree. So, you know, the setup there in Parliament now is interesting. So Mashaba became the kingmaker. So that's why they insulted him. Because he's the one who said, no, I'm not going this direction, I'm going this way. And then the DA and the EFF and MKP went on the other side to collapse the ANC and not to be able to pass the budget. So Mashaba then said, no, I'm coming in, but he was clear from the onset that I'm coming in on condition that we are going to review VAT. We said, okay, good. Let's see. Then we gave 30 days. Parties had to make submissions. After 30 days, even before that, the minister said, I've found means of how we are going to address the shortfall. So we can do away with the VAT. Remember, immediately when they lost the vote on the budget framework, they went to court to reverse everything else. So we went ahead with the negotiations and we were waiting and up until yesterday. And then we agreed as the ANC, we said, okay, 0.5, we can do away with it. Our problem here is that if we don't have money, we go back to austerity. How are we going to finance social expenditure? More teachers, more health workers, social security net, and all of that. To other parties, those things don't count. You can go ahead without funding them, it doesn't affect us. And that is it. So that is the point about the ANC. And that is why we then said, okay, if you are now going to get this to address this, it's fine, we can go ahead, but as long as this is not affected. So that's where we are. Now, it is not correct to suggest that it just happened on its own. There was no need to go to court, but others had to go to court for political posturing, and there are few who went to court, and they will still go to court even tomorrow. Because for us to move forward legally in terms of reviewing the budget, it's important that court decision to come back to Parliament in order for us to restart things. But at the end of the day, budget in terms of VAT increase is cut off because of the African National Congress, and that is not the easy victory. And we could have been there and refused and go back and forth and so on, but it's not in the best interest of the country. And that is why we had to concede on the question of the 0.5, and with the understanding that revenue collection will address the shortfall. So that's what has actually happened. What we discussed with the DA and others and so on, we are discussing GNU. You misbehave, you don't support the budget, you're part of the GNU. How do you believe that you can implement the budget that you did not support? So we must reset the button. But we've got no interest to collapse this country. And even the people you think that we need to work with to constitute what is called the Black Alliance, they are not progressive. And actually, that is why we said, come all of you, because Niafana, and then let's meet in the GNU and then proceed. And then others decided, no, we'll work from outside. And then others said, no, we don't have a problem with the budget. 0.5, we can go ahead as long as you do away with these ones. That's not where we are, because our interest is to South Africa. Now, the ANC, in terms of the setback it has suffered, it can only come back if it reduces the trust deficit and it does things differently. And it cannot only do that on its own, it has got to work with others. And Nadel, in this particular instance, may it be local government, may it be on issues of social transformation, you are the partner. And let's not complain from the outside. Let's come inside. Like I've told you now, Lutuli House, we are ready. Tina, we don't employ whatever firms and so on. I've heard that point being raised here. It's important also that we address that particular point from the point of view even of government. Because what does government do all the time? In terms of major cases that they are dealing with in terms of government, they overlook everyone else and give their favorites. Now, the fact of the matter is that this government is run by us, and so we're in charge. So to prove that we're in charge, we've got to do things differently. By talking about the Brother Bond, I don't mean exactly the Brother Bond. I'm talking about African bond, whatever that it is. That is black, that fight for itself, without looking at others and allowing them to trample over us, like as if we don't exist. So that's what I'm talking about. It's an idea, it's a big concept that must be unpacked. And how we do it, I've seen it at UNISA. I don't know, there's an important NGO there that has been formed by black lawyers, but along opposite of AfriForum, but it's not getting more support. AfriForum gets millions of rands from its constituency. Black lawyers, if we're to embark on that, you will need support, even resource-wise, and so on. And how we go about that, that is the issue that we need to address. So me, what I'm addressing with you is that you've got a partner in the African National Congress, a partner that is leading a political movement in this country. And we understand that conditions have changed, but we can work together. So your interest that you are addressing and the challenges that you face are the things that we must champion as the African National Congress from where we are working with you. So in us, you've got a partner. It is not the past that is going to determine what must happen in the present. But what we encounter in the present is something that is going to make us to be partners, and understanding very well that our history is tied together as the two organizations. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh, thank you very much, SG. Comrades, I think we are almost concluding. I have our DSG that I must hand over. Oh, it's DSG and Sam.
She's talking.
Yeah, I see.
And I'm doing the blank.
This is my top, this is my advocate.
I'm doing the blank.
Yeah. Okay,
Come, Sam.
yeah, sure.
Thank you. Just a quick, just on behalf of Nadel, we want to thank you for being with us today. Your presence is appreciated, especially in these challenging times. And so, Nadal, we remain rooted in the values of the Freedom Charter and committed to being a critical voice and a defender of our Constitution. So transformation is not a favor. It's a constitutional imperative. So it's about justice for our people, especially women and children. And so we will take in this conference, how do we position ourselves in this national discourse? How do we push back against regressive right-wing forces, which is not just in South Africa, but also in the globe? We know exactly what Trump has done. And so we do it by staying connected to our communities, if you want the answer, defending our democratic institutions, and ensuring that law works to deliver real socioeconomic change, especially at local level. So we will continue to stand firm, speak out, and fight justice with purpose and principle. And then also please accept, it's a small gift. You can do a complete audit. It's less than 300 rand. But this is my, and then also the Basutu blanket is a small token of our appreciation and respect, and a symbol of warmth, dignity, as well as solidarity. So thank you very much. She wants to take a picture. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Let me quickly make this announcement. We are going to adjourn now to have dinner, and then we will come back at